Hello everybody, Sean here, and today we're looking at the Scorpionnajka boss in Dark Souls 2. A interesting little boss as she starts out underground, and you're just like, oh, how hard can this person be? Turns out it's a giant scorpion, and the answer is very difficult. So you could start out by just hitting her with a few attacks, whatever. I decided to just throw a fireball in her face, because at this point, this was multiple attempts at this boss, and I was getting very frustrated with her. You can see she has quite a long reach, and if you stay too far away from her, she's going to pummel you with very powerful magic spells. And if you get too close to her, she's going to hit you with melee attacks. So what I decided to do is use the trees to my advantage. They do block some spells. You can also see I'm using a special shield. It's Silver Knight Shield or something to that effect. It's a 80% block shield. It blocks 80% physical, 80% magic. So I'm able to just block her magical spells in the event I do get hit. But what you want to do as a melee character anyways is stay fairly close to her. That way she does not use the magic as often. And she has a couple primary physical attacks, which you're seeing right now, where she's either going to swing her staff at you, she's going to put both of her tails in the ground at the same time, or she'll stagger hit them, or she will cast the magic. Her special little attack is this. Anytime you see her go in the sand, you quickly want to come stand on a piece of stone. Since this is the biggest piece of stone, I suggest standing on it. She can't come out of the ground where the stone is. If you're standing on sand, what she will do is she'll come up underneath you, trip you, and then just gobble you up, basically. You're pretty much dead, so you have to stand on that stone. As soon as she comes out of the ground, make sure you back away a little bit, because when she comes out of the ground, there is a bit of a, kind of like a sand explosion, and you will take a little bit of damage if you're too close, so just make sure you back away a little bit. Then you can get a few quick hits on her, because there's about 2 to 3 seconds of downtime when she is doing that. This cycle is basically going to repeat over and over, so you're going to see me get back in and start hacking away at her, and then she'll go back underground. We do this a few times. But an interesting note here is that you can cut off her tails. So you should see me, that right tail of hers has taken multiple hits. It's probably right on the verge. Once you cut her tails off, something's going to change. Obviously, for one, she's not going to have the tails to attack with. If you cut one of them off, her attack pattern is not going to change. If you cut both of them off, her attack pattern is actually going to change a little bit, because now that she has less attacks, she gets a little more aggressive with the staff and a little more aggressive with magic. So, if you find that you're having a bit of a hard time dealing with the magic, one of the best things to do is don't actually cut her tails off. But if the magic's not so much of an issue, then go ahead, cut the tails off. Again, this really depends on what kind of items you have. Are you capable of dodging? Because if your character's a heavy armor class, it's going to be very hard for you to dodge the spells. So it might be in your interest to not cut her tail off. That way she is less inclined to use her magic. But in my case, my guy is fairly good at dodging because I'm not very heavy. Plus, like I said, I also have the shield that in the event I miss a dodge, I can have the shield up and absorb most of the magical damage. That's her other magic attack, as you can see, where it launches kind of a wave at you, and you have to dodge at the last second. But again, once she goes through her magic, even though she's going to be more inclined to use the magic, the attack pattern overall is going to be the same, in that you just have to slice and dice at her, and then she's going to go underground, and you just have to hide on that stone, and you hit her again. Ranged characters, you're probably going to have a little easier of a time, just because you're at range. You're going to end up having kind of like a magic duel, so it's going to be mage on mage. Again, in that case, hopefully you have a good magic block shield, or you're very proficient at dodging. Since you're likely playing a mage in light armor, it's going to be much, much easier for you to dodge. If you're a pyromancer, you're going to have a heyday during this fight. Scorpions, like real-life scorpions, don't really like fire, so she will take some extra damage from fire. Magical damage doesn't seem to do a whole lot of any sort of bonuses to her. I mean, you'll hit her for okay numbers, but don't expect to hit her for any significant bonus damage. Fire seems to be the one where it's at. Was unable to test bleeding or poison or anything like that, so can't really speak to those elements, but I equipped the Pyromancy Flame for a reason, and I also brought my Fire Longsword just to kind of hammer it home. Now, my Pyromancy isn't hitting very hard, but do keep in mind that that is the base level fireball, and I have no real magical stats to speak of. My character is 99% a melee-oriented character. Like I mentioned earlier, I was just annoyed with this boss, so I wanted to toss fireballs in her face due to frustration levels. But there you go. That's pretty well how to take out the Scorpion, is just have her repeat this. If you could just dodge her attacks until she goes underground again and again, boss is going to be very, very easy for you to deal with. One thing to keep in mind is there's 2 trees in the battle arena that are like really bad trees. They look like they can be interacted with. One of them has a corpse on them. The only way to get that corpse is to have her hit it. So just something to keep in mind. The only way to get that corpse down from the tree is to have the boss hit it. Otherwise, there you go. That's the Scorpion dead for you. I hope this helps you out. I thank you for watching, and we'll see everyone next time.